Russia launches airstrikes as rebels seize parts of Syria. They're in control of large areas of the city of Aleppo as hundreds flee the fighting. Also tonight, the assisted dying bill is facing problems before it's even law. And family, political friends and foes pay tribute at Alex Salmond's memorial service.
This is ITV News with Shihab Khan.
Good evening. Russia has launched airstrikes on Syria after rebels seized parts of the city of Aleppo. Fierce fighting in and around the area has forced hundreds to flee. The surprise rebel offensive came from a group previously linked to al-Qaeda and is the most serious threat to President Bashar al-Assad in years. Syrian forces say they are making a tactical withdrawal in order to prepare a counter-offensive. Louisa Britton reports.
The attack on Syria's second largest city was the culmination of 3 days fighting. It was met with little resistance as rebel fighters swept through villages and towns to reach Aleppo. Thousands of insurgents fanned out inside the city that had been under the control of President Bashar al-Assad, who's been out of the country and whose whereabouts are unknown. The statue of his brother was toppled by rebels earlier today. Airstrikes launched by Syria and its ally Russia hit several areas of the city, reportedly killing almost 30 civilians. The army says it's redeploying and preparing for a counterattack.
The Syrian army so far has not fought back. Over the last year, since October 7th, Israel has been bombing Syria at least 3 times a week. And so that's weakened Syria and has weakened its ally Hezbollah and Iran, so they can't come to reinforce Syria as they had.
It's the first time rebels have reached the city since 2016, when government forces backed by Russia carried out a gruelling military campaign, leaving Aleppo in ruins and displacing millions of people. The insurgents, led by a militant group that once had close ties with al-Qaeda, comes after weeks of simmering violence, escalating a 13-year war that has claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. Louisa Britton, ITV News.
The assisted dying bill is facing significant obstacles on its path to becoming law. Some MPs who initially supported the legislation are warning they may withdraw their backing if changes aren't made. The hospice sector is also warning that their services shouldn't face funding cuts to pay for any new NHS costs. Our political reporter, Charanpreet Kaira, has more.
While some celebrated, others commiserated. Now it's down to the detail.
Assistance to leave!
For those who oppose the assisted dying bill, the fight isn't over.
I was very distressed at the result because I just think those issues of coercion were not fully taken on board. There is time now to really have a deep engagement with colleagues, and I think they will be pleasantly surprised about how much palliation can make a difference to people at the end of life and give people the comfort and care they need.
300,000 patients across the UK receive that comfort and care every year. Last year, hospices got a third of their income, £678 million from the government, and had to raise a further £1.3 billion themselves. Double what they had to raise 10 years ago. Some fear if this bill passes, that'll only increase.
It's not been made clear in Kim Ledbetter's bill how assisted dying would be funded. Would it be a fully state-funded service? Would hospices that are charitably funded be expected to provide it? Would it be funded privately? These are questions that are unknown.
Some of those who voted for the bill say they could only do so again if those questions are answered.
At this point, it's about the principle of the bill, that we believe people should have choice. So it's not a perfect bill. So I think there's definitely scope there to improve this bill.
The bill will now pass through a committee stage before returning to MPs for a third reading. While some hope that will improve the safeguards, others want it voted down for good. Charanpreet Kaira, ITV News.
Now, Over in Ireland, counting is underway in the general election, with exit polls suggesting the three major parties are nearly neck and neck. UTV's political editor Tracy McGee is in Dublin. Tracy, what's the latest?
Well, counting got underway first thing this morning, but Ireland's complex voting system means it could be Monday before we finally know the true picture. I can tell you that this election has marked changes. Since the Irish state was formed over 100 years ago, two parties dominated, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. But now the Republican Party, Sinn Féin, has been confirmed as a third player, and all three are locked in a tight race. It appears Irish voters struggling with the cost of living and housing crisis have not plumped for a clear winner. There have been shocks, including the news that alleged crime figure Jerry the Monk Hutch has possibly won a seat here in Dublin. Now, Irish elections are a two-phase process. First, voters give their verdict, then parties try to form a government. That coalition could be known by the new year.
Tracy, thank you. A lone piper played as the man who fought tirelessly for Scottish independence, former First Minister Alex Salmond, was honoured at his memorial service today. Political friends and foes, including former Prime Minister Gordon Brown, heard him described as a leader of courage, vision and intelligence. Our Scotland correspondent Peter Smith reports.
It is St Andrew's Day, but these saltire flags were not for Scotland's patron saint. On Edinburgh's Royal Mile, this was Alex Salmond's Day, a memorial for the former First Minister after his death last month. He was the man who led Scotland to the brink of independence before a bitter split from the SNP. Salmond claimed he had been betrayed by once close friends, and his loyal supporters let the current SNP leader know they had not forgotten. Notably, Nicola Sturgeon decided to stay away today, avoiding a similar hostile reception. But today was not an occasion for feuds. Friends and foes came together out of respect, understanding Alex Salmond is also a complicated figure to eulogise.
We gather not to beatify a saint, but to remember a human being.
This was a reflection on the legacy of Alex Salmond, the man who almost broke up Britain but refused to give up hope.
But for Scotland, the campaign continues and the dream shall never die.
But I can't understand.
Some of Salmond's favourite Scottish musicians were here, playing a patriotic soundtrack.
I think Salmond is the pivotal figure of the last 30 years in Scottish politics, whether you support independence or not.
As Alex Salmond's family have just left St Giles Cathedral, the crowd here have begun a spontaneous rendition of Scotland's national anthem.
For 300 years, Scotland's future had not been in the hands of the Scottish people. Alex Salmond changed that. His widow left the memorial today knowing her husband's dream lives on beyond his time in politics, and he now takes his place in Scottish history. Peter Smith, ITV News, Edinburgh.
Now for some football. In the Premier League, there was a thrilling contest between West Ham United and Arsenal. There were 7 first-half goals, but none in the second, as the Gunners won the game 5-2. And that's it. We're back at 10:30. Until then, bye-bye.